Coming up in this video, what is a spirit or ghost? It's part of our mediumship training. We want to know, are you seeing or sensing spirits? Is a spirit disrupting your life? How can you tell if a spirit is following you?
Those are a lot of questions, but our spirit's trying to communicate with you. These are just a bunch of questions we get all the time, and you wonder what it means.
Most of the time, it's not what you think. Let's break it down.
So if you're new, consider subscribing, click the bell, you will be good to go.
And let us know that you can hear us and see us with a hashtag good to go.
As always, if you have questions as we go relating to the topic of this video, drop them in the comments.
If we don't get to your questions live, we'll answer any questions on the replay.
So let's set the mood as we get started this Monday morning. In our age of spiritual awakening, more and more people are searching for how to get woke and stay woke.
And numbers don't lie. There are over 33,000 people searching for spiritual awakening every month.
And that's important because to get woke, you have to stop following the herd and start thinking for yourself and looking deeper to crack the code.
And that's how you stay woke.
We're going to do some code racking today.
Code racking?
Code racking. Yes.
We're going to rack that code up.
With a C. So it is time to tag up.
Definitely time to tag up. For all of our Zen heads in Zen Academy, let us know that you're here with a hashtag ZenHead for life.
If you're watching live, give us a hashtag live tribe.
And if you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay fam.
Let us know where you're watching from.
So you can help me with my geography and I can be a better, more culturally expanded individual.
That's
so that when we come to your town, we don't look silly.
We don't get kicked out of the bar. That's my
for bringing our
my worry.
Unicorns and fairies.
That's my fear. Good morning, guys.
Got Gina, Megan, hashtag top fan, hashtag live tribe. Awesome, Gina. Hashtag live vibe. I like that. All right. Hashtag ZenHead for life. Lords, you are awesome. Good morning. Think for others. Also, love and peace from India. Awesome. Let us know what is most unique about your space, about your place, about your where you happen to be right now. What is most unique about your place? Dawn says Live Tribe, New Mexico.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so share the video. You get a prize.
Stay with us for the whole video and you get a prize.
Plus, we're going to help you get woke and stay woke.
Hopefully you will be wide awake by the end of this video. And while that will be entertaining with some free, juicy information, we do have an offer at the end to take your life and metaphysical business from basic to bodacious.
Because that is our full-time gig.
All we ask in exchange is that you check out the offer because that's what keeps the lights on, gives us a break for sushi, it gets us out of the house, and feeds 2 hungry dogs and 1 bougie cat.
But only if it works for you. Want to say also what is up to Madison McKinnon. Good to see you.
Nice.
All right, Lord says sneaking at work.
Always, right?
We're your guilty pleasure.
We're kind of sneaking at work too.
If you are just getting to know us,
I'm Heather.
And I'm David.
I'm ZenRoseGarden.com.
We love helping metaphysical entrepreneurs bring their unique healing skills to the world.
Since 2008, we've been doing this together as a team, helping thousands of clients and students go from feeling overwhelmed, confused, and insecure to being clear, confident, and successful.
And if you've just found us, welcome. Say hi in the comments. Let us know that you're here. It is wonderful to connect. That's one of the greatest parts of our work.
I also want to know if you are a healing arts professional or want to be a healing arts professional with the hashtag HealingPro in the comments and let us know what your special spice is, what you do to bring that special healing
to the world. Because we are here to help you confidently catapult your personal healing influence into the world so that you can stand strong in your own genius.
Let's do that for you today.
Ashley Nicole, good to see you. Gina, good to see you. Madison says it is your first live. Welcome. Good to see you. Poppy, good to see you. Awesome. So many people here. That's cool.
Let's get it on. So that sounded like a Marvin Gaye song. Well, we did notice from a lot of our students from all over the world who study to be metaphysical professionals and who are metaphysical professionals that there was kind of a huge gap in what was being taught by a lot of the systems out there in our niche that seemed to be doing the same thing everybody else was doing. A lot of skating the surface, learning the fluff, but not enough of the cake.
And we're not trying to be the next copy and paste cookie cutter kind of people doing the same stuff in the same way.
Because my dad taught me to bake the cake, then put the frosting on. So some people teach the cool intuitive techniques Nothing wrong with that without a foundation of self-growth to stabilize it.
And others taught self-growth without having a clue of what to do when people started opening up their intuitive skills.
And underneath both of those, there's an even deeper foundation that you don't get with most systems that you learn. And both of these groups lack that ceiling of integration and that foundation, which is what we like to do. We like to bridge that gap. And if you stay to the end, we do have a resource, our best resource for metaphysical entrepreneurs who want real world skills to build that foundation stronger, integrate that gap to catapult your personal and professional lives without getting lost in the frosting.
Yeah. So if you need this in your life, give us a hashtag tell me more or send us a message on Facebook or DM on IG.
Yes.
What is up to Madison says, yes, I'd love to do that. I started channeling for others and spirits come to me to give messages. Awesome. You're going to love this one then. Megan says, hashtag healing pro, helping people realize their highest potential and clear blocks in their way. Awesome.
Isn't that most of the work?
Right.
You know?
Right. Gina says, I'm a developing psychic medium.
Awesome.
Aaron says, I started my own business raising Savak. Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. Ashley, good to see you. Ginger says, made it live. Awesome. Gail, good morning. Lord says, future healing pro. Future healing pro. I think mediumship.
Yes.
Awesome.
Let's get into it. This is going to give you a couple of different angles. You know how we like to give it to you from a few different ways, but it seems like when people are coming into mediumship, a lot of people in general, because of pop culture,
or just watching ghost shows,
right? It seems like the first thing some people do when they feel an unusual sensation is to jump to the conclusion that there is a presence. Okay, unusual sensations that you feel.
Presence
It might not always mean you're getting a present. It might not always mean there's a literal presence that has a spirit energy to it, a live energy. Okay.
So in mediumship culture, there are certain guidelines that will tell you that there is a ghost or a spirit in a location, but sometimes these can leave out other possibilities that are very important to know. Because
so like we always say, experience will shape your belief, right? And that's how systems come to be, that's how religions come to be. The experience will shape your belief, and then your belief will always shape your future experiences if you don't remain open and curious.
So be open, be curious. You have both sides, of course, the ones trying to prove that there are ghosts, and then the others that are trying to prove that there are not ghosts. There's nothing wrong with either one of those, okay?
Well, I think there's something wrong with them because these two groups are always going to be at odds,
right?
Because they're trapped in a positional argument that neither side can win. It's
right.
The age-old story, but we're moving on past that, right? So see what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
They're both curious, but they're curious and they want to see one answer. So I'm talking about both sides. We're going to prove there isn't, and we're going to prove that there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an age-old story. Don't have to keep going on. There are paranormal researchers that are trying to bridge that gap, though. So if you are a metaphysical practitioner, such as a medium, and you want to be better at your craft, it is important to expand your understanding into fields of knowledge that don't just have one rigid opinion.
So today we're going to explore some findings around haunted phenomena that may or may not be haunted. And the reason it's important for you to learn this as a metaphysical practitioner is because you have to recognize situations that are not supernatural. Okay. Yep. And you have to know that it's a possibility. I think a lot of people in metaphysical practice don't want to look at that because of the fear that they might be proved wrong. Like everything is wrong. You know, none of it is spirit phenomena. So you got to get over that fear
keep an open mind.
Because both are possible. I see both in the world. So
to get us started, let's answer the question, what is a ghost and what is a spirit, in a really simple way?
So traditionally, a ghost is a spirit who is stuck to the earth and refuses to cross over for some reason. And this is the classic unfinished business. Okay.
So a spirit, in a very general way, is the energy consciousness of a person that has passed on.
So you may feel this energy in various ways if it is an actual spirit. It could be heavy and light, and depending on the emotional state of the person when they died, and in theory, whether or not they have crossed over is going to determine what it shows up, how it shows up for you.
Megan says, this is an awesome video, guys. We haven't even gotten to any of this stuff yet. So you're okay. And Gina says, my passion is chemical dependency, PTSD/trauma. I am a licensed professional counselor by profession. I am also a healer and light worker, and I want to bring them together.
See, I love that about you. When you bring the two together, it's more powerful because you have more of an expanded awareness of what's going on in the world. Because magic and science, mysticism and the supernatural is just science that has not been proven yet.
Absolutely.
You know,
Madison says, tell me more. Madison, go ahead and send me a message on Facebook, and I'll answer all your questions. I will get you all the information that you need. I will tell you more.
He's excited this morning. So now it's time for the good stuff. Let's get into it. Here,
Naya, good to see you. Here we go. Now it's time for the good stuff. Now it's time for... Okay.
The only way you can distract David is to distract him into himself. So tip number 1, first, how to ghost hunt the right way. Okay. So let's get into that.
Don't get it twisted.
Right. Because we're going to tell you some non-ghost things in a minute, but we want to tell you the good ghost stuff first. So David and I love to do ghost hunting when we are traveling in old locations.
Especially in old locations.
Well, you know, and we always follow it with rescue and transition mediumship because we don't want to, you know, we have ethics. Okay. We're just not watching the train wreck and doing nothing. So to really have fun with it, but this is the ghost hunting part. So to really have fun with it, you have to enter a situation with a really blank slate. And
as neutral as you could possibly be.
And this is what most people don't do because they come in with their preconceived notions of what they're going to find. So there are better and more effective ways to do this than others. And because it can be really easy to jump to conclusions about what you pick up if you have only one possibility in mind.
You're already rigid from the get-go, and it's hard to be open to what might actually be happening. So for instance, if you are ghost hunting and you calmly take in the energy of a space by allowing it to flow to you, you're going to receive information that will have a meaning and be provable in some way much more easily than if you go in with a preconceived notion or idea in your head. You're going to have a harder time doing it that way.
So a lot of people go into space and they get hit by this big energy and they're like, oh, and imaginally they react and they're in shock, and suddenly stories start filling in the blanks. So this is a better way to do it. Everybody does it in different ways, but that is one way that if your information comes in that way, that's fine. Right. But for instance, in one ghost town, we stopped in a parking lot. In the middle of the town with no expectations on purpose, and we tuned in. We were just testing ourselves.
I actually had her close her eyes when we went into town before we actually got into the town.
Yeah, I mean, closed my eyes so I couldn't see what was in and around. So clairaudiently, I heard the sounds of a saloon, like the noise. Okay, logically, I'm in an old town. I might hear the sounds of a saloon, and then I saw the image of a woman in a green dress tending the bar. And I could feel her emotions. So a couple of different sensations coming in, a couple of different channels. Okay, this is more the right way to do it. And then when we walked into the town, or I told him what I was sensing. He's like, oh, look, there's a saloon.
After she delivered the message and got the things, the impressions that she was picking up and the information that she was picking up after she delivered that, then I was like, okay, are you ready? When you're ready, open your eyes and take a look over there.
So we saw the saloon, and then we walked into the town and saw a picture of a woman on the wall of the saloon that had the same outfit, looked like the same woman I described. We Googled her name. It was actually on the I can't remember her name.
Black, right.
And she had a green dress on the internet picture because the other one was black and white. So before, we wanted to get as many details before we ventured out and started making up stories about the place.
Right.
Because we all have a catalog of stories in our head that we can fill in to a space before we get a neutral sense of the space. This is the right way to ghost hunt or to feel out a situation of a house. So if that's kind of, I wanted to give you that first, because that's kind of the right way to do it. It's the fun way to do it without fear, without, oh, there's all this crazy energy here. Make sense?
Right. Okay. So if you're interested in mediumship and advancing your mediumship skills, stay tuned for that offer at the end. I want to say also, Megan says, yes, clear slate. I don't want to know anything. That is a really good approach. And Madison says, I've literally grown up in 2 houses where my grandparents have passed, so I've been surrounded by the supernatural. Some of it's freaky, some of it is beautiful. Stay up there, friends. That's awesome. Naya says, I keep seeing Wu everywhere. Maybe I need a Wu-Tang Clan.
Maybe so.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
and then Megan says, haha, I'm just saying it's an awesome topic to bring forward and give awareness to. And you two are always fire. So I just know it's going to be awesome.
I love you.
You are amazing.
Guys, who wants free stuff? This is the time you put in the hashtag free stuff. We do have 2 freebies, but you have to earn them.
Because everything tastes better when it's earned. You get 1 for sharing, 1 for staying. Keep watching and we'll tell you how.
Hit the like button, give us some hearts if you want free stuff.
If you want free stuff, give us those likes. If you want free stuff, give us those likes.
That was new. So let's go on to tip number 2. Check for gas leaks.
Yep.
Okay. These are the non-supernatural causes of phenomenon. Okay. Some of them. So when I was a kid, okay, here's just a little precursor.
Geek moment, nerd moment.
Geek nerd moment. When I was a kid, I loved
nerd trigger.
Reading. When I was a kid, I loved reading the stories of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I can't read because I can't speak.
You can't with this guy.
So, but anyway, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, right? So very often Sherlock Holmes was called to investigate some paranormal happening involved in a mysterious murder. Okay. Everybody else was usually jumping to paranormal conclusions about murderous ghosts.
And he was like, CTFO, mate.
Right. I don't know if he said it like that. I think he was more London. So he said CTFO, let's see if there's a more rational explanation.
And by the way, that is chill the funk out.
So in the world of paranormal research, researchers look for ways to prove that ghosts appear, but also how natural happenings can be mistaken for ghosts.
Yep. So there was one study that showed an occurrence in an older house where an entire family was experiencing a haunting. Okay. It was scary. They were all freaking out. They were seeing all these ghostly images, having nausea, vomiting, many of the other symptoms that can be associated with a typical haunting. The investigator had the house itself tested out and found a low-grade carbon monoxide leak.
So the family literally all had carbon monoxide poisoning, and all the hallucinations and the illness that goes along with it look very much like the symptoms that you might experience in a haunted house. So the leak was fixed and all the phenomenon stopped.
So the clue here might be that the individual family members only experienced the phenomena in the house, but the ghost disappeared when they were out of the house.
Because oxygen. So like if some of the family members had been experiencing it out of the house, that might be a clue to like kind of look at, well, let's look at this in a different angle.
Right. And Naya says, can power lines and close by TV towers cause paranormal-like things to happen?
Ooh,
yes.
Stay tuned.
Yes, and we'll get into that in a minute. But if you want to learn how to tell the difference between a gas leak and a ghost, stick around for that offer at the end.
Subtle differences, right?
Yes.
So how are we doing so far? Is this making sense?
Dana, you are awesome. Awesome. Definitely want to know. We'll get into even more in just a moment. If so, if this is making sense to you guys, share it with someone who needs to get woke.
Hit that like button and give us some hearts if you are woke. I want to see all the hearts because I know that you were all waking up this morning. So I think
if you're woke.
So I think
likes.
that David is very interrupty today.
Give us those likes. I think Heather is rushing me.
David is super interrupty today.
I think Heather is rushing me. Super rushy today.
I'm not Russian at all. Or Swedish or London or England. He's all British. So I think it's just so easy for us to go ADD. I apologize. We didn't take our Ritalin this morning. We don't take Ritalin. But anyway, so I think that reading so much Sherlock Holmes for me and growing up in a house where there was a lot of spirit activity made me look at all this stuff from different angles. Like, I think it's funny how when we feel something jarring, we automatically label it scary instead of being curious about it.
So Sherlock Holmes was simply curious. Okay. That's what helped him to see what is and what is not before starting a huge pandemic panic kind of thing.
Right. And I think we have the tendency as humans, because we like drama, we're just addicted to drama, right? We have tendency to automatically jump to the craziest conclusions instead of working our way from simple to complex.
This is how so many people end up spinning off into overcomplicated systems and drive themselves and those around them crazy.
We call it spiritual OCD, and we see people doing it all the time. Well, what about this detail and that and that and that and that? And by that time, you're like you're like spinning off into some sort of like fear, you know?
Now it's poll time.
So we want to know, which is your preference. Okay. Are you
Who would win
I don't know.
in a showdown?
Sherlock.
Who would win in a showdown of figuring out the mystery?
Okay, we're going there, right? Okay. Yep. Sherlock Holmes or Nancy Drew?
Boom. Let us know in the comments. Sherlock Holmes or Nancy Drew? Who would win in a
in a challenge,
in a mystery challenge? Yeah, solving the mystery challenge. Drama queens / kings are annoying. Not this one. I'm never annoying.
He's not.
777. I think that's Joshua. Hello, good to see you.
David's annoying.
Wow. Sarcasm is strong with this one.
Was that passive aggressive?
No, that was
watch our video on being passive aggressive. No, you're right. I'm never passive aggressive.
True.
I'm just aggressive. So
Nancy Drew in the house. All right. So moving on to tip number 3.
It's all about that bass.
All about that bass. No trouble.
I'm just going to give him a moment to let it out. So another research study was done with highly sensitive people, and empaths. Listen up, because I know it can apply to you. I know that I have reacted this way in the past when going to the club. So not been there. And once I get over it, I have a lot more fun at the club. So another research study was done with highly sensitive people and environmental disturbances.
Yep. So it was found that in areas where there were more strong magnetic fields, those that were easily alarmed, highly sensitive, would jump to the conclusion that there was an ominous spirit presence.
Or a negative energy.
Right. And those that were more neutral would simply feel the sensation without attaching a meaning to it and be more curious about it.
So testing was done with low frequency sound and vibration, like such as that come off of like telephone poles, electromagnetic
TV towers, things like that.
Like that were below human hearing, but they were very sensitive. And it was found that what's called infrasound,
below sound,
or vibration, and animals can hear it, right? And sometimes the vibrations that are transmitted over long distances, like earthquakes, or from a distant freeway where traffic is rumbling, as well as more of the obvious bass frequencies that you feel at a club or a concert, will invoke panic, chills, uneasiness, elevated heart rate, increased blood pressure, and things like that in a person who is more prone to anxiety or sensitivity.
In controlled tests in highly sensitive and anxious people, the stimulus caused an immediate reaction that the person associated with a negative presence of some kind. When it was removed, there was no reaction.
Okay, this is good to know, because the key to ghost hunting properly is to enter a situation with a blank slate and an open mind, and to, if there are emotions present or sensations present, allow them and fill them with a neutral mind. Then you can not attach to them. This is what a lot of empaths do, is attach to it when it might be something else. So a lot of times the energy's meeting you, and you're meeting it with your emotion, and then it becomes uncontrollable. So if you're suddenly shocked or some energy is coming at you unexplained, slow down before you assign value to it and imagine an energy that may not be there. So you slow down before you imagine an energy that may not be there.
Right. So one element of learning the intuitive arts as a professional is deprogramming all of these fears from old subconscious pre-programmed reactions that end up assigning an unwarranted value to energy. Learn the skills, get your game on lock.
So that's like a lot of unwinding, and that just kind of takes the discipline of bringing the subconscious to the conscious and facing your own stuff. So I've got a lot of questions. I love it, you guys.
Okay, so we've got Madison says, highly sensitive. I've worked with children who have been diagnosed with autism, and they're much more susceptible to energies. Absolutely.
100%.
The key is working through any fears that associate a value from a pre-programmed past. Okay, so working on the emotional element, and that's why working on your emotions is a very, very fundamental piece of doing any kind of sensitivity work where you're dealing with subtle energies. Work on the emotions so that you can become more neutral. Okay. Ginger says, Heather, do you think that your house would have been less active if you were open to it as a child?
If you weren't open to it as a child.
If you weren't open to it as a child, curious if that makes it more active.
It's quite possible because it's kind of like you're hanging a shingle out. Like I know we've worked with a lot of child mediums who they're sensitive to it, and maybe spirits that are stuck or lost are just understanding that this child can sense them. So it's possible that that could be a magnet for the child, and the child's overwhelmed with more spirit energy, like help me, see me, listen to me.
Right.
But also because I had a very emotionally chaotic house. Sorry. My parents were kind of always arguing and fighting. I think that kind of negative energy that's going on in a house can also draw, spirits that are kind of addicted to that. So I think it's both.
Naya says, yes, my son is autistic and he picks up on energies. I've also caught him speaking to something intensively. Absolutely.
And I think when you've got, with Ginger and with Naya, when you've got children who are, because children are they haven't formed that critical mind filter that dismisses things or accepts things. And they're so much more open to the world of the subconscious mind, the alpha state. They can so much more easily go into it. And that's the place where you access and can access invisible reality, what's out there, what's in the spirit world. And so with an autistic kid, that filter is so open and raw that they're sensitive to, things in
more easily able to pick up. Right.
So I think both of those things.
Yep. I think partly being open to it as a child, being more sensitive as a child can bring more energy, but there's also, there's stuff happening all the time across the entire universe. So
we're living in the world, So I think that had my household not been as chaotic, maybe I wouldn't have been as sensitive to it, because as a child, when you're in a kind of a chaotic environment emotionally, you are more sensitive because your spidey senses are open. Yeah. So they're sensing more things. So I think what children that grow up in more environments where there's a little bit more emotional sensitivity
or chaos,
and they're kind of stuck where parents aren't getting along, they definitely can be more open to sensitivities.
That, in addition to traumas or any kind of emotional abuse, whether it's child or whether it's adults, anything like that where you've got PTSD or things like that, that can also open that part of your mind. Working on the emotional foundation, working on the foundation underneath is the key. Gina says, I have found that people who abuse substances are susceptible to spirit encounters, but don't understand or know what to do. And then they ended up getting diagnosed with mental illness. Yeah.
And here's the thing that we find with that, with a lot of older mediums that their systems will be working for a while, but then they don't work on their underlying fears along the way. They just rely on the natural gift of mediumship without stabilizing and understanding the structure, working on the underlying fears. They may go along with a career that's pretty successful for a while, but we've worked with a lot of older mediums who suddenly have this breakdown. And what's happening is those subconscious fears start to come up, emerge in the surface and get kind of intermingled with what they're actually picking up. And then they will start to get diagnosed with like mental illness, and some of it could be projected fears of their subconscious because they've developed that sensitivity to the spirit world to a degree, but also the subconscious blends with that and starts to kind of project out into your world. So you might be experiencing both at the same time. And that's why in shamanism, this is nothing new that's been discovered. That's why in traditional shamanism, in your tribes, the shaman's going to have you wax on, wax off for a long time
to build that foundation,
of emotional and mental stability. So that's what we're talking about in the beginning of this live, is that this is the way they did it old school. The shaman, the teacher, would work with you for a while to see if you were ready to start tuning into those sensitivities in a healthy way. So, and because they've always known that if you do not work on that foundation, it's going to come up at some point and bite you in the butt. So
and I think that's perfect, because Lord's comment here says, yes, I did the self-growth classes, which, by the way, Lord's is one of our Zen heads. She's absolutely amazing. She said, yes, I did the self-growth classes and had what I would have considered a nightmare the other night. I was so much more aware of my power and control over the situation than I normally would have been. Woke me in a cold sweat. I was able to dismiss and carry on.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Absolutely. You moved past the preconceived fears. That is awesome. Starseed, good to see you. Dana says, I'm interested to go to a haunted place to see what I pick up and if I can sense spirits there. The biggest piece is to play with it. Okay, play with the energy, play with what you're picking up, and just see where it goes. Don't get attached to anything and just play with it. Hippie Chick Barbie, good to see you. Only catching the last few minutes. Have to go back and catch the replay. Yes, it's some really good stuff. Leona, good to see you. All right. I was recently diagnosed with PTSD, had a huge spiritual experience at the same time, heard spirits, etc. Told my family, they had me admitted for schizophrenia. Haven't been diagnosed yet, but they sure like to make sure they drug people instead of finding the source in the first place.
That's so important to find the source, right?
Right.
You know, and when you have PTSD, again, whenever you have a trauma, that kind of dissolves that filter between the two minds. And so you have a faster access into that. Same thing that psychedelic drugs does. It dissolves that filter. Any of those things that disrupts that filter between the two worlds, which is your conscious mind, your subconscious, and the spirit world, boom, that information is coming in. It can be really shocking if you're not ready for it. So in mediumship, that's one of the things you do is you train your ability to control that process, to toggle neutral, and toggle back and forth.
Right.
So and that's a skill.
Gina says people have Christian or religious programming that can give them fears of their abilities.
100%.
Absolutely agree. Any programming, any whether it's history, whether you've got a history of abuse or violence in your family, whether you've got religious programming or dogmatic, rigid programming, whether that comes from religion or that comes from family or that comes from society, it doesn't matter. Those are the things that you unprogram, rewind, and reprogram. And that's kind of some of the...
Well, that's what we talk about with the frosting on the cake, right? So the cake is, for me, mediumship, these abilities are a function of your mind.
Yes, they are a function of your
part
mind.
of your biocomputer system that is in your brain that reaches out like wires and picks up this information. So when we have emotions, we assign value to it. And when we have pre-programmed religions or the spiritual system we came from, those are the automatic things that get overlaid on what we perceive. It may not be what's there, but it's what we see because we're really projectors more than we are receivers.
Yeah, and so, Leona says, stop listening to yourself. Yeah, sometimes it's really important to stop listening to these programs that are in your brain telling you what to be afraid of, what to do this, what to do that, and start thinking for yourself.
Well, they say when you're learning that a lot of, you shouldn't always believe what you tell yourself. Like I'm a piece of shit. You're wrong. You're stupid. Stop listening to what you're telling yourself because a lot of times it's inaccurate. And it's coming from that invisible program, and that's when you got to teach yourself not to talk shit on yourself.
Yes, not to shit on yourself. Dana says, that's what happened to me. I was abused as a kid and then was diagnosed as having a mental illness. But I see shadows, faces, auras have since I was a kid. Yes, Dana. We've got a lot of the education that's in our Zenit Academy kind of approaches those things from not from a mental illness standpoint, but from how is your mind functioning? How is your mind protecting yourself? How is your mind open because of these situations, and how can you bring balance to it? That's the key, is how to bring balance to all these crazy things that your mind is doing as a method of protecting itself from things of your past or your present.
Again, it's the PTSD of the abuse. You're going to be more open to what's going on around you
because your spidey senses are on overdrive.
You're wide open. But if you can, and I find that many people have experienced those things as kids, so they're very aware of there's other energies. Right.
So we want to thank you guys for joining us. We want to know also, are you more excited now that you have these tips? Have we busted some myths or cleared up some of these myths?
Fighting back against the foundation, revolutionizes entrepreneurs with real tools for the 21st century, but we do need your help.
Share this video, click the I'm part of the revolution link in the description with a hashtag I shared ZS. And we do change that out every month.
We do. And I want to give a shout out to one of our Zed heads, Dorothy, who shared her experience with us on the Google machine. She said, David and Heather make a great team. They complement each other in their abilities to help you receive what is for your highest good. Their energy is loving and peaceful. I had a great healing session and will be making another appointment. I recommend them when you're ready and need help to move forward. Thank you, David and Heather. Love and light.
Ooh.
Yes.
All right, Dorothy, thank you. It is always a pleasure to hear the experiences of people that have had sessions with us or done any kind of work with us. We love that. Love that. Love that. Leona also says, I was kidnapped twice by the same human, 9 years apart. He's finally behind bars. PTSD. You can heal it. I had 3 open heart surgeries, 2 near-death experiences, died on the table for 21 minutes, beat cancer. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Leona, if you want to reach out, you can reach out to us. The best way would be on Facebook at Zen Rose Garden. That would be the best way. We can talk some more about that.
So it is time now for that special offer to take your metaphysical business from basic to bodacious. Thank you guys for hanging out so long with us this morning, because this is our full-time gig. It's what we do all week long, 80 hours a week.
And this is what keeps the lights on, gives us that sushi break, feeds 2 hungry dogs and 1 bougie cat, but only if it works for you.
So we have learned that self-growth and developing your superpowers go together like sushi, Sapporo, and sake.
Sake to me. Oh, okay.
He went a little Aretha Franklin.
I did. So Gina says, love Zen Head Academy. Absolutely. Gina. You guys are amazing. That is why we created our signature subscription membership, Zen Head Academy, to bridge the gap and revolutionize this field. We're not trying to change it. We're trying to revolutionize it.
And deepen that foundation. So you could keep bouncing around like a pinball from one outdated program to another, never gaining traction. And really, we're talking about the foundations, because there's a lot of good systems and programs out there that really don't have time to teach you the foundation that's underneath it. You can learn a lot of the systems and the techniques and the tools to help you get to the foundation, but sometimes you don't know what that is.
Or you could spin around, or you could plug directly into all of the unique proven shortcuts, signature mind hacks, and emotional ninja skills that have worked for thousands of our students to step into their clarity, confidence, and personal power so that you can live in your passion completely and get paid for it.
Because you got to keep the lights on too.
Yep.
So let's see if this is right for you.
Leona says, I want to come and see you. I'm in Vegas. Yes, Leona, please reach out at Zen Rose Garden, Facebook, IG. Those are the best places to reach us. And we can definitely work on that. We want to know if this is right for you.
So are you tired of mediumship advice that is way too complicated or way too woojoo? Are you also tired of people telling you that the intuitive arts are satanic?
Are you tired of people telling you that all light workers and healers are crazy?
There's that mental illness thing.
Yep.
Are you ready for intuitive development without judgment?
Are you ready for psychic and mediumship training that does not scare the bejesus out of you?
Like you had a nightmare. It's just showing you something that you need to look at. That's it.
It's a gold.
It's not.
It's a gold.
It's not an evil demon trying to eat your head while you sleep. So
are you ready for self-growth that is natural and fun?
It should be fun. It should be fun.
Yes.
Like ghost hunting. So
Nima says, found more magic in life through Zen Rose Garden. You're amazing, Nima.
You know, at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want to live a magical, fun life, right?
Right. So if this is right for you, Zen Ed Academy is the rebel base. That's the rebel base where the revolution begins.
He loves doing that every day. It's so cute. So Zen, I don't mean like, oh, he's cute. I mean like he actually is really cute. So Zen Ed Academy is where the science of self-growth meets the magic of mysticism with our best collection of mind hacks, emotional healing techniques, and psychological superpowers.
To stand strong, stand out, and do good while living your best life, and most importantly, having fun.
And yeah, most importantly, having fun, because you know what? A lot of people are so stressed about their gifts and they are anxious about their gifts.
Yeah.
But it really should be about, hey, let's go see a ghost town and tap in and play and enjoy it, not be like in constant fear that you're going to be wrong or something like that. And this is going to work for you, even if you're allergic to fairy dust, seasonal allergies, and just need real information without all the unicorn poop.
This is going to work for you even if you are a complete virgin to all the ghosties and have never had your metaphysical ghosty cherry popped.
God, this is not about having sex with ghosts. That's kind of fetishy. That's a little fetishy.
Anyway, Zen Ed Academy is our inner circle where we jack you into the ZRG mainframe so that you can finally conquer your inner supervillain, master your unique superpowers so that you can heal the world in that special way that only you can.
Side note, there's probably a website about ghost fetish.
No, we're not talking any of that. Do not Google that.
Have you seen it?
What do you need to do?
If anyone's Googled that, I want to know about it.
What do you need to do to get into the academy and become a part of the revolution? Click the link in the description to be taken to the checkout cart, put in your details, and in seconds, start the first lesson of our advanced mediumship course, and you will be part of the Inner Revolution team with support at the ready.
And that definitely will get you on your way to telling the difference between a ghost and a gas leak.
Or the fact that it's 3 a.m. in the club and the spirits just want to get jiggy with it too.
That's kind of a 2-for-1 deal.
Absolutely. All the info is down below. If you still have any questions, comment with #TellMeMore or send us a message on Facebook at Zen Rose Garden or a DM on IG.
Guys, it's been fun this morning, but because you stayed to the end, you get the prize. Click the I love you so much I stayed link in the description with the #ILoveZRG.
If you liked this video, hit that like button 5 times.
Just 5 is the magic number. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. That's where we get ideas for new videos.
And for more mind hacking pro
be
tips,
sure to subscribe
and click the bell to turn notifications on
so you're the first to know
when we drop a new video
or go live.
And we know that time is a valuable and precious resource, and the fact that you guys have chosen to spend that with us, even as long as today was, thank you guys for joining us. Most importantly, thank you guys for leveling up your skills and taking your life to a whole new level. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you in the next video.